Ah. What the fuck? No, I only have music on one ear. Oh. Testing will do. Yeah, okay. Maybe I should have stopped the stream. My brother called. I'm still not done. Be right back. Whip. Yeah. Okay. I am back. Let's type something like 0 init state less than 0 init state size plus this. Yeah, it's a lot less than I thought it would be, but okay. This should be 4 times 27 or something. Calculator. $108. There's no way 108. No, it's 3. Yeah, nonsense. 4 times 9. 4 times 9. I know that from my head. That's 36. Plus 2 lines. 38. Yep. Now let's build in my filters. The file doesn't exist, blah blah blah, and R is not possible. So if equals N and equals R, continue. The next one is blah blah blah. Therefore, let's not consider the RS, the third and the fourth. If the third mode state, let me just copy it from here. The third and the fourth continue. yes. If let's see, I get persistence requires writing to the file. Therefore, RP is not possible. So the first and the third RP. File doesn't exist and the file size must be given, therefore n0 is not possible. Continue. Blip. Where the hell is my little window? Sure, I have it. I create a new console and it doesn't even pop up. Yeah, look, nothing, just gone. What is this? The other console now disappeared too. I'm flabbergasted. Where are my consoles? Here's a console. Here's the thing that I was looking for. Now suddenly I have two of them. Okay. It disappears under my browser. This is just broken, man. Yeah, layer is normal, but the layer of the browser is normal, and the layer of this thing is also normal. Well, it should have been top. At least that's one thing. But oh, now it works again. Something is horribly broken. I did have the N0, yeah. I listed this for every case, but comes down to blah blah blah. I did not have any other points, but I did list all remaining cases, so those. Let's check if my own rules can reproduce this list. Okay, so that's it then. These are the rules that I had. (26) or 24 then. 24 are left. I think that node what? I have to go to source or not. Oh, this is EVO test suit. Go away. I'll just have to make a new one. Or not. See, I do have to be in memory. No. MemoryMappedPool.h. I have only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 left. That's 24 here. So that's 6 too many. Which 6 are here and are not in the other one? Let's write this to a file. latest VI manual, whatever. Oops, let's put this the manual list in that file. This is sorted as WRN. WRN. And then the 0 comes first, 0S and 0Z. Can we see that? Yeah, the 0 comes 0Z at any rate. And the S here is 0S. Yeah, you have W0C0 first and then the WSC0. So the 0 comes first, both cases. And yeah, I think I just listed it like this. Oh, PCZ, yeah, Z something else. This is the read only. PRC probably. Very likely. PRC I said. Yeah. Does not give much hope. Mean. Apparently the C comes before the P. Yeah, clearly. C, why the hell would the C come before the P? Yeah, well, that's Emmanuel. You can see from these W0 something 0. It is CRP. That is better, although I still see minuses. What is this? The word here is removed and then added again. So these two should be reordered, which means, what does that mean? What about this one? Also WS must be in the last two. I have so R0 comes before CZ. Must be this one, or the RC is still not good. To the R must come before the C. It looks like it. We're just going to try everything, I guess. I don't know. It is try it all. There's also minuses here, so this was not it. Where does that thing go to? It even went down further. So now the C is behind R, which it should not be. C becomes 4 before R. So is that not what I just said? No. Now, I mean, logic would say it must be P, C, R. That's, I don't know. That's how I would do it. Yeah, no. Hi Thor. A short intro. Oh boy. Okay, yeah, okay. So memory. I switched to memory because I want to write some tool that is related to memory allocators and stuff like that. Memory pools. I had memory pools in utility, but I thought, well, let's give it its own Git repository. And then comes the design, because this thing must then be extended with mmap, aka memory map. So the Linux has a kernel support for memory map. So mmap is a system call, which then gives you a virtual address space that corresponds to something that's backed up by a file, kind of like the SOP, but then different. And I have to design my, well, it's called MemoryMappedPool. So that is a memory pool backed up with a memory mapped file. I'm currently working on the constructor of that class. I mean, we have nothing. Well, I have something in the meantime, but you have to start somewhere, and I wanted to start with the constructor. So I made up which parameters I need, in which order I want to put them. For example, I started with these statements, each of which can be true or false. The file does not exist or is not readable. It turns out that is equivalent in my case. Not readable, might as well, I mean, if does not exist or it is not readable, then, well, actually that's not true, of course. If it does not exist, then I just should try to create it. But if it exists and it is not readable, then I might as well pretend that it doesn't exist. And does that mean that I'm going to try to truncate it? I guess that I can't read it, I cannot override it as well. Well, actually I could, maybe I can. Suppose I have a very important file, but for some reason it's not readable, but it is writable. Then I would destroy it. Well, I think I'm gonna throw then. So let's throw an exception. If it exists and it's not readable, I should throw it instead of destroying it. But anyway, this statement cannot be true together with this statement, if you ignore the readable. It cannot exist and not exist at the same time. It cannot not exist and exist at the same time. Same thing for here. If this is writable, this is not writable. It cannot be writable and not writable at the same time. So these are mutual exclusive. This is mutual exclusive with that. So all three are mutual exclusive. Therefore, we can give them, put them in one column, and then in that one column we just put either W for a writable existing file, and R for a read-only, so a non-writable but existing file, and N for file doesn't exist. Well, not really. I need this for the King and Rook versus King project. Anyway, I don't even know if you're still there, so that was my story, unless you have more questions. I'm analyzing this stuff, and then the result is going to be how my constructor looks like, plus some insight in how the body of the constructor has to look like, I guess. But I did some work. I just keep editing and editing and editing this file, and I ended up with this list. Either I made a mistake while editing the file, or I'm missing something in the rules, because if I apply these rules, which I now have listed, then I get more than this. So either a rule is missing, and that rule should kick out a few cases, or I deleted those cases while they should still be there. I don't know. Anyway, if my rules only throw stuff away. So I want to start with something that generates these things in exactly this order. And then throw them away. And for some reason I can't even reproduce that, which is pretty stupid. Maybe I should just sort the whole thing. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna sort it. Because we get tired. Yeah, but now the N comes first. Well, why not? Let's just put it in this order. It's the beautiful thing of them being columns. I can just drop this in here and everything still works. I mean, the rest of the comments still work. Okay, now at least it's clear how the order is, namely alphabetically. With the 0 apparently comes before alphabet things. We can go back here, put this thing in alphabetic order, which is NRW. And this then becomes C. PQR, right? So this must be P and then the R. And still we have minuses. Why? How? Oh, because I didn't. Yeah, never mind. Manual, right? So now I have to sort manual as well, obviously. Let's write manual 2, and then edit manual 2. And then move manual 2 to manual. Now manually sorted. Now I can make the diff again. Finally, we got rid of the minuses. Okay. Got the order right. Apparently, I forget to delete all of these. So what have these pluses here in common? Is that some kind of, can I express that in a filter that which I missed, or? That looks very much like the last one is 0 initialization. The CR doesn't matter because it's here, and it's not here. But maybe the C is prohibited for other reasons. So I don't think that this column matters. It could matter. This also, the 0S doesn't matter. That's how it works, because only 0 and S change, the rest doesn't change. Therefore, apparently the 0, if it's 0 S, well, I can't say that, can I? Well, I can, because yeah, also here we have the 0 and the S, and we have the 0 here and the S here, and with the rest remaining the same. So let's remove all S's. Replace the 0 with I don't care. These things have been filtered away. Okay, now I only have rules that incorporate two things. So maybe it's the R and the Z cannot coexist, which means that this first column wouldn't make a difference, which means that also the NRZ should not be there. But I think the NRZ is already prohibited because of another rule. That's why it's not in this list. The other rule being this rule. So you cannot have N-R. So this is removed for a different rule. So it might be that the rule that I'm missing is one that removes RZ. So now we can think about that. So maybe this should be removed. However, that still doesn't explain why I have this one. Okay, which things can I add that are otherwise removed anyway? So blip. So this one does not apply because you have an N here and an R there and neither match. Here we have an RZ. Oh, RZ is not possible. Oh, I forgot that add. I forgot to add that filter apparently. Damn it. Otherwise I would not have gotten this. Dang, man. Okay, never mind. Yeah, there's no mention of RZ at all. Okay, back to the drawing board. So this is not possible. That would be that one. Then I get an R and an S. We don't even have that here. Wait, oh, there's this one. I typed an S instead of a Z. So this one is this one. It must be a Z. And then we have the RP rule. And finally we have the N0 rule. Yep, so RCZ is also not possible apparently. Still have to explain that. That probably has to do with the C. But CZ is possible. If you just assume that it is just pick 2 and then disallow it, then I can't say that CZ is disallowed, because it is allowed sometimes. So it's not CZ, then maybe it is RC. No, because RC is allowed. So it's not C, then it must be RZ. This R and that Z. Yep. So apparently R-Z also must be disallowed. So I should have a rule here that says blah blah blah. Therefore, R-Z is not possible. Let's already imply that. Great, now I have reproduced it. Okay, does this make sense? What is the blah blah? Yeah, I don't know. I think the rule is actually wrong. So we could have a read-only file. Could have a read-only file and then request 0 initialization. That does indeed not make much sense. No, because if you have a read-only file, then the data in that file must be important. And if you do 0 initialization, then you basically change the file. So it would be possible if you say we do copy and write, but then you have a file with important data that is non-changeable. So we cannot do persistence. And then if you write to it, you first you do copy and write, but you don't copy it. You just 0 initialize it. Actually on the read even more. It's just bullshit. So this should be filtered. Okay. How do I put that in English? If the file is not is read only. thought I already had this before. Yeah, I probably did, but okay. So if the file is read-only, yeah, then it makes no sense to request zero initialization. Make up your mind. Okay, no comma. Now I'm going to lie to the AI because I would just confuse it to tell it that I recovered from my own error here. So yeah, I'll do instead. I did not have any other points, so my last point is now quote last point. If the file is read-only, then it makes no sense to request zero initialization. That is not possible. Does that cover one of the things that it said? Well, it said point 4. Yeah, zero initialization only makes sense for a new file that is being created. If the file exists, the data is already there and zeroing will be destroyed. Therefore, Z implies N. So I think that I can say here this covers point 4, except that I can't type. Still allow because it says Z implies N, so it only wants to allow N with the Z, but I also allow, I only disallow R, so I also allow W, Z. And I said that before in the beginning you made an error in point 4, right? I did not say that. What the hell? I typed that wrong. This is 2C. And this is 4. Made an error in 4. Zero initialization only makes sense for new file being created. It is possible that file was created beforehand, but not initialized. Okay, it might contain a random data. The only thing we can say for sure is that zero initialization doesn't make sense for a file that exists, but is read-only, because the read-only implies the data has value, namely the only value that we possibly can get. Therefore, covers point 4. And now I have everything. Yes. Okay. The only thing left is your point. To B. Let's scrutinize that. So on top of what I said, and not counting the 2 errors that the AI made, it also says the copy on write. This mode also requires the file to exist. Why? Oh yeah, because you copy it. No. Huh? Wait a minute. You cannot copy on write a file that doesn't exist. Yeah. I think it must exist, yeah. sounds extremely logical the way it says it now. But. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I agree. So the file does not exist. Size doesn't matter. Copy on write. Zero initialization doesn't matter. It is not possible. Now we have to add that to the filter. It requires me to remove the NC things, which are 2 apparently. So NC1, NC2. Okay. think we have to do quite a lot, so let's make this a non-inline function. So we'll just define in new .cxx file. I can only do that if... No, yeah, I'll let it do everything. I don't know. So can you write the code that throws exceptions for the disallowed cases? Hello, else if Dennis. What? Else if is not C++. I won't call it else if. Obviously, we first have to determine the file's state in R or W. Well, maybe not that obvious, because I suppose I can copy this now from source the test file. Accept the first one, okay. So this R means that read only is requested. So assert that the mode is unequal mode read only, or zero init is not true. I don't feel much like throwing an error throwing an exception that the programmer could have avoided. That's more a runtime error. I mean, that's not a runtime error. I mean, that is a logic error. So I don't want to throw a logic error. It's just stupid to pass to pass these two. I don't do that. So assert. So if you assert on this, then I write the comment. Then what did you do wrong? Well, it kind of spells it out, but I want to write it in English anyway. So do not pass mode read only together with 0 init. Are you stupid? But I won't type that because it's so immature. Maybe I should delete this because at some point everyone will forget what these 4 positions mean and etc. Yeah, that doesn't really add much. So for this, I have to determine the file mode, if it exists or not. Obviously, we first have to determine the file state and RW. I'm just going to hit return here and see what it does. Okay, the standard file system exists. That's good. This uses access. How much sense does it make that standard file system would not be able to check if a file is readable or writable? I don't believe this. Check if file is, let's do writable using standard file system to see if I write access. I want to use standard file system to query about a disk folder path, ouch, that was given to my function. I want to find out if I have write access to the folder, but I want to do it without actually trying to write to the folder. I must say the answer is not super clear. Oh, if anyone is not on my Discord, but is still interested in atomics, I wrote this, took me a bit, so might as well paste it here for your pleasure, reading pleasure. I think it's a wonderful way to think about the memory model and synchronization stuff that apparently most experts in the world still get wrong. Well, it's really simple mental picture. If you understand this, then you can understand when to pick what mode, acquire, relax, and release and stuff like that. In cases even where people like Herb Sitter make mistakes and stuff like that. Yeah, no answer basically. How to check for read and write permission in C++. The Unix code base using access. That's exactly what I want to know, right? Well, not that part. I want an implementation leveraging only standard file system. Thought about using standard file system perms and perform a manual check for both read and write. But how can I perfectly mimic the checks made by access? See the CPU reference. If you want to check, you can use this standard file system status file name permission. That will give you I guess, list of permissions. And you can use some approach like suppose I just have to look this up in the manual. If this ain't it, then it ain't nothing. It's got to be this one, which is, well, first status, which I also never heard of. And then call permissions on that. File system status. File system library. Status, that's where we are. That returns the type file status apparently. We can also test it directly. exists, yeah. Just exists doesn't seem to be enough. I want it to be a regular file. Well, not a directory. Not a block device. Character device and pipeline socket, symlink. Could be a symlink. Symlink to a file, I suppose. But I think that symlinks are resolved anyway. So I could just check for a regular file instead of exist. Although if it is a directory, or actually if it exists but it is not a regular file, then we can't create it. So that would be a reason to throw an error. So it's more complex than that, I guess. In other words, let's ignore this code for now. Let me do... Okay, the file exists is a given. Gonna do if file exists, but people tell you it's end, but it is not end, it is but. If file exists, but standard file system is a regular file. File name, horrible. Yeah, you don't want to do that. No, I'm going to call stat twice on that file, I think. So not. Can I do a single stat and then know both things? Dude, if I had to explain what I'm doing every time a new person joins the channel, I wouldn't do any work. Maybe just call file status and then I know if it is a regular file. Type. File type. Regular. None. Not found. See, I think this is it. This is what I want. I want to get this file types thingy. Oops, that's not what I intended. You go back. Type. File status, member functions. File status is the type member function. File status is an yeah, usually I type stuff in my description. I didn't today. Yeah, that's true. file system status. So instead of this, I'm going to call that if P does not exist, it returns file status, file type not found. What can we do with that? So look at the type, I guess, and then compare it with not found. So the file status had a type which was a member function, probably an accessor. Exist means that it is unequal not found. Where the file type is again part of standard file system, right? Also a type. I don't. Well, no, that's not true. Not a PC game. I play games on my tablet and my phone, Android phone. On my phone, I play currently only Clash of Clans again. Recently, like in the last few months, I went from Town Hall 1 again, all the way up till 10. And on a tablet, I'm only playing. What is it called? Good question. Oh, something with magic is magic something. I forgot the name. You have to shoot stuff. Getting more and more powerful while you do that. What exists? Your Town Hall 11. Join our clan. I have 2 Town Hall 10s actually. One Town Hall 10 is completely maxed out, and I'm not doing anything with it. I mean, I get 6 stars every war, but I'm not upgrading anything because I'm waiting until the other account is also completely maximized, and then we go together to Town Hall 11. Now, what clan are you in? Or what type of clan? Is the good clan? Do you want to stay there, or can I convince you to come to our clan? You can also always use active people. Active being logging in on Clash of Clans several times a day. Yeah, I mean, at least twice. And certainly every war, obviously. Otherwise, I don't want you. Just kidding. I'm not a leader. I'll exist. I'm gonna do AI alert. AI alert. Just throw, man. Throw. I'm trying to get a core out of it. It's not happening. Okay, I give up. What is the thing called? My memory is gone suddenly. I just can't remember anymore. Oh, wait a minute. Now I know it. Throw alert. That's, yeah. The color is there. Oh, you don't play anymore. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna use this one. Or maybe print the name of the function, file and the function. Function prefix, not model. F. So that prints something like MemoryMappedPool, colon, MemoryMappedPool, colon. And then file exists, but is not a regular file. How about that? What projects to do? If I knew that, I wouldn't be writing this. Oh, wait. Nah. Let me start at the beginning. Hi, I have a question. First, what you working on and what I actually wanted to ask. I'm just being friendly. Any idea how I can become really good at C++? I know that I'm making project sites, but I don't even know what projects to do. I never had that problem. I always knew what to do. I was always obsessed with something. I just wanted to do it. Actually, I don't think I learned programming because I wanted to learn programming. I learned programming because I wanted to do something. Like I wanted to write a program that found all prime numbers or test some theory or make a three-dimensional maze that I could walk through. Or write a program to test out my strategy for a certain game, some board game. For example, I really don't want to learn how standard file system works. I've no interest in that whatsoever. But I'm learning it because I need it. I need it here. That's why I'm learning it. I do refuse to use the old C library access function though. You know, you got to know the bleeding edge. You got to use the bleeding edge, Ronald. I think now we have an existing file that is a regular file, or we don't have an existing file, of course. But at least if below here a file exists, then it is a regular file. And if it doesn't exist, yeah, well, then it's not a regular file. It doesn't even exist at all. I still don't have information about... So now we have the N, right? N means file exists. Or not, actually. Can delete this one. Is readable and writable. So if it exists, then... Well, it can only be readable and or writable if the file exists. I'm going to put this up here. Readable. Okay, how do we do readable with the file status that I have? Here's my file status again. Permissions. So we call permissions. We call permissions on the file status. No, not in. It's a binary thingy. Perm and P. So readable means I don't want to know it is readable. I want to know it's only readable. In other words, I want to know if it is writable. Create file with permissions. I didn't know Windows had this kind of stuff. It looks very Unix. Very Unix. Windows doesn't have a group and other permissions, does it? Does it have permissions at all? I mean, that the last thing Bill Gates did is implement the same thing, it in the same way as Unix did. It would definitely not do that. He wanted to invent everything himself and be different from the standard that already existed. So it looks like Unix. It can't be the same as Windows. I'm so confused. But yeah, I don't support Windows anyway. So okay, if this works and it works, I'm gonna call perms owner right. And perms owner right or perms group right or perms other right. Because if one of them is true, then we can write it's unequal 0. So yeah, it is readable as bullshit. This is writable. Thus, if the file does not exist, and we request read-only, so the mode is simply read-only. But now, what if the file exists, but it's, say, not readable or something else? So the file, if the file, wait a minute, this says that the file does not exist. So if this is false, aka this is true, then we know that this is also true. Though in this case it is a regular file, so this fails. If it is a regular file, that obviously exists, otherwise it couldn't be a regular file. So N now stands for it does not exist. Yeah, wait a minute. That not N stands for it exists and it's a regular file. Yeah, I think this covers the case, for example, that it is a directory. Then we throw here. If you come here, either it is a regular file or it does not exist. That's very simple. Okay, so suppose we have a regular file, but the file is not readable. Then what? Yeah, that should throw as well. So I do need to know if it is readable. Okay, existing, it exists, it's a regular file, it's readable. It's not writable, is acceptable. What do you need to know that? Okay, let's do the ends first. This is the most logical one, I think. So if the file does not exist and we did not pass a size, then it should throw. Can I now finally copy something from the AI again or not? I don't know if I need this for inspiration, or that just gets worse. After seeing that, my inspiration is completely gone, obviously. So now I have to do with this. How do I test if the size is not given? I think file size equals 0 means that it is not given, right? I'm not doing the error here. Turn that around. I'd rather say copy and write was requested, but the file blah blah does not exist. Express emotion! Exclamation mark. My computer is freaking out. I'm going to make this a lot shorter in a second. Let me first make the code work. Kind of curious what it says here. Yep. Copy on write or read only mode requested for a non-existent file. Whatever. RP is not possible. If read only. Bool is readable? No, we need to test the writable thing here. R means not writable. But. So is writable means it exists, but I want to test not writable. And now you have to test if the file exists. If the file exists, but it's not writable. That's the R. And but I mean the mode that is requested equals mode persistent. Then we have throw alert. Persistent mode requested, but should I call this the map file or the mapped file, or before I'm calling it just file? Well, okay, I'm just calling it file. But file is not writable. The file. I keep doing the exclamation marks. I feel immature today. Okay, do we have that? Yes. And then the last one. It's again R together with 0 initialization. in R. Okay, let's make it a little bit shorter, as in if file exists. Not file exists, I mean. Then we do this. And then you have another one here, auto mode. See, this way I look a lot smarter than I am. I just started with a stupid code. Well, actually, I started with a full analysis that started with 256 possibilities, and then slowly collapsed them. And then we end up with this, which is accumulation of hours and hours of stupidness. But now it looks smart. The file does not exist, and the mode is read-only. Throw. Otherwise, the mode could be copy and write. Still not good. The file does not exist and you don't have a file size. What the heck are you doing? Actually, I don't even care about the modes of the non-existing. Wait a minute. You better provide it. Yeah, I think this is more important. Right. Let's put that here. The else is a BS because if we enter here, then we throw. So might as well delete the else here. I mean, but I'm not, because the mode is mutable exclusive, and that's why I want to see the else there. But there's no difference whatsoever, obviously. Now I can even make it faster, or better yet. Character cons pointer. Error is null pointer. If error, throw error, comma, the argument. Now better, short, less code duplication. These also have that, actually. You would almost wish that I could set error here and then use the same line at the bottom. You could do that by putting all of that in an else. Is readable. Is readable is only used here. So is writable is used only there. Hello, AG. Same remark for that one, but well. Guess I could combine those two. Could be both, not readable and not a regular file. I guess in that case I will just complain about it not being a regular file. Which means that I will only say that it is not readable if it is a regular file. So that means that not as a regular file, then we print this one. I have to catenate stuff. Not possible with the test like that. Arg. Okay, well maybe I shouldn't do this then. But I did. I already did. I could make it a standard string. Yeah. Yeah, right. I think the throw alert doesn't take standard strings, or does it? This takes something which is being passed second argument to, for example, this one. Throw second argument ends up as the whatever argument to alert. Nobody knows what alert is. Actually, it's not alert, it's prefix. Prefix standard string. Does it accept standard strings? Construct a prefix at str. Prefix, no, argument. Construct a prefix str of type a type. Type. So confused. It's totally storing it in a string. And the string is being moved here. Yeah, okay. Let's work with standard string then. It's moving it. I mean, as if CPU clock cycles are a tiny little bit important here. So I'm gonna make this a standard string, and then empty means empty. So default constructor doesn't do anything. And then if not empty, we should be able to just pass a standard string there. And then I can do this plus, well, plus, let's start with a standard string, because otherwise you can't do plus. I'm going to make this my tertiary operator. So it's either that or that. If a file name is provided, it must be a readable or regular file. And if it is not a regular file, then we enter here and we say that it is not a regular file. And if it is a regular file, but we still enter here, then that is because it was not readable. So if this is false, then it was not readable, which we don't print. Very good. There was one thing I am missing. What was it? Am I missing something? No, I think that was the file size, which has been added in the meantime. This is so AI. Validate file size consistency. Oh yeah, that is missing. So if the file exists and the file size is given, then we need to read the file size and then throw if that is not the same thing. Which it doesn't do here. It just gets the file size and then it's happy with it. Oh no, it's not. It's actually testing it here. Right, can we do that without calling stud? The last hurdle. No, it's a bad example because I'm not that bad at reading code, but this code, what the? Anyway, it seems we can get the file size by calling file size or std file system file size, passing the name again, and that then would be relevant to do if it is an existing file and the file size is given. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, that sucks. Can't add that here. You have to add another. Well, you have to indent this if again. So the file exists and file size is given. Oh, now I can't do that with this. Well, actually I can. I can just pause file size here anyway, and then you ignore it, with all the other messages. Yeah, why not? Oops. Yeah, next thing you want, now we want to know what the actual file size is as well. Okay, let's not do this. Let's just turn this into a throw. And I'm going to add 2 arguments. It's time to try to compile it. There's no work to do. You type 2 hours, I don't even have to compile it. What happened? Mapped. Oh, wait. Fail. Totally fails. Obviously it fails. Default argument given for parameter 3 of MemoryMappedPool rule. Standard file system CXX11 path. Size type, mode pool. Previous specification. Oh, that's say that again. Say that immediately then. Where's the error? Yeah. No matching function for call 2. Error. Regular file is not a member of standard file system file type. Yeah, I was just guessing. Damn it. Definitely not part of file system. Oh, file system file type. Let's have another look then. Regular, it's just regular. Just regular. They thought the file is implied. Where are we then? Line 16. Memory mapped something. The sperm is not correct. Maybe I'm gonna do using here. Using namespace standard file system. All hell will break loose now. That will work. File system. File status. Yeah, no, file status, file status. Duh. Damage. File type was working. File size. Oh, definitely have another file size. Can no longer use file size now. That's what I use FS normally. Maybe I should do that, not just go back. Is that how you do it, or should there be a namespace involved there? No matching function. Error fs does not name a type. That's a very brilliant way to do the search and replace. Error file system does not name a type. We're gonna guess that it needs a namespace here. Nope. FS is not a namespace. FS is standard file system. Never use that. I never use that. Oh, that's how I do it. It's simply namespace is that. Okay. What do I know? And still perms has not been declared. Did you mean blah blah blah? No, it's not asking me. That was not what I copied. File is Okay, it's that time of the day again. Do I have to go to bed and stuff? Perms. Substitute perms with fs. Perms. No, it totally does not fit anymore. In the compilation, new words, open the dictionary, add it. No matching, that still get the same error. Good that it expects 3 arguments, 0 provided. Oh, that's still the candidate stuff. No match for operator unequal. Operand types, standard file system perps. And int. So how the hell do I test it then? And we're back to the UN max. Perms none. Perms none. Okay. Okay, remember that. If is perms none. Oh, it's a base class. Base class. MemoryMappedPool. To pass the block size down. Expected something before something. Compiles. I don't think I even create a memory pool though, or memory mapped pool. Do I have a test thingy for it? Not really. I think I'm gonna quit. I don't feel like it anymore. But yeah, now I should add a test that actually creates it. Feeling sleepy. It throws an AI alert. I'm not printing it. You have to catch it. I don't know how to do that. ls.utils vi.utils/AI alert.h. Give me usage. Usage. It's no usage at all. Gotta be kidding me. Oh, here's example code. Show the alert box. Yeah, I don't have that, I think. I think I'm gonna catch error. What was it? AI alert. You gotta be kidding me. Oh, that's a fatal error. Yeah, they should do a notice then. The file, oh, double quotes. Why? Why double quotes? Anyway, the file mmap-image does not exist and no size was provided. That is so true. What's with the double quotes? Why would it be printing quotes around it? Oh, because it's a file path. Yeah, that happens automatically. If you try to print a standard file system path, my debug stuff prints quotes around it. Which means that we have to go to MemoryMappedPool.cxx and then remove all the quotes. All of them. But you can totally automate that. Substitute that Or I'm pretty sure I have to escape the backslashes and that the brackets, what is it? And then we're going to replace that with without quotes. File path. And then other quotes don't exist. Good. Okay. There was something else, but I forgot. Run, no? This is not the window you are looking for. Here's the window that I'm looking for. Well, of course, now I have to pass the size. The size that is being passed is, here's my cue, make C tags, MemoryMappedPool. Block size, file size. No, let's make it 1,000 times bigger. Only 4 megabytes, right? Run it and done. Doesn't throw. Okay. Also doesn't create a file, obviously, because it's not doing anything. Let's create a file. vi mmap image, some random file. No, it exists, so now run it again. It's gonna throw. Provided file size, blah blah, does not match the size of the existing file. 17 bytes. This one's totally 17 bytes, man. So cool. Okay, mon.dd, because I don't know. Keep seek output file and bytes, read up to bytes, no. BS byte, read and write up to bytes at a time. Well, this is good enough. Count, copy only n input blocks. I think it's per block or what? Probably blocks. Okay, so I need I just need a count and an output file. Count and OF, I think. DD count is something, output file is my file. That is then 496. Oh, wait a minute. 4096. 123 divided by 512. I can't type. 512. Bytes. Why is this taking so long? I'm totally erasing my hard disk now. Yeah, it takes so long. 0 bytes copied. Maybe I need an input file as well then. Input file. Div 0. Ah, now it's fast. Finally. Now it's fast. Okay, yep, totally the amount that I wanted. And if I run it again, there it is. File exists, correct size, no problem whatsoever. Change mod minus W for the mapped file. Persistent mode requested, but file is not writable. File name. Maybe I should just do but file name is not writable. Is that not better readable? Depends on how long the file name is, I suppose. And, but you have those nice quotes and all. No, it doesn't warrant an exclamation mark. I don't think this gives pleasant information. I would rather see the something shorter, or maybe the source file name and the line number. This is so unreadable as hell, right? Can just take let's use L. It's a little better. I mean, it also now it says MemoryMappedPool. I mean, this is better, definitely better. But yeah, now the line number always refers to the same point. It doesn't point back to the where the error is being set. But oh well. We have the text, persistent mode. I could grab the source code for that and then still end up where it happens. And then we can see that you know, the tests that have been done, right? Make. Don't need to make, nothing to do. Okay, what else can we test? Can make it a non-regular file. Oh, I move it away. And then do make dir or something. File exists, but is not a regular file. Shouldn't we be printing the full path here? Convert a file path to the real path. Should be possible. think you want to know the full path, right? Lexically normal, never heard of that. Canonical, it's probably better. Or not. Let's go to the documentation. It's not C++. Weakly canonical. And canonical. Convert path P to a canonical absolute path. The absolute path that has no dot elements or symbolic links. And weak is what? Returns a path composed by operator from the result of calling canonical with a path argument composed of the leading elements of P that exist as determined status P, then followed by the elements of P that do not exist. The resulting path is normal form. I think that's what I want. Especially if you want to print a non-existing path and stuff. File system weakly canonical. I think that will also print the full path. Let's see. I don't know. Would still dereference symbolic links, I think, though. But well, I don't have those, and even then, it's not that bad. Or is it actually? Maybe if I pass the full path with the symlink to my I don't know. What? Why is this changing every time? I just copy it and then I come here and my clipboard is changed. Copy, paste. Don't change it. Yay. Now it's a full path. And this is still going to work for paths that do not exist, right? Remove dir. Bleep. Oh, it doesn't mind that it doesn't exist. I have to remove the size. Yeah, no, it just prints it like that, which is not what I wanted. I mean, it can only determine that it did not exist by trying to open it, ish, right? I mean, looking in a certain directory. I want to know what that directory is. This is not helpful. So canonical is not it. Then, apparently. Or maybe canonical is it, but weekly is not it. I don't know. Let's try to remove the weekly. See if that prints something that makes sense. Cannot make canonical path. No such file or directory. Yeah, okay. I get that one, but the answer is not correct. The answer was simply not correct, man. What is file system absolute then? Is absolute. There's a path referencing the same file system location as P for which file system path is absolute is true. This non-throwing overload returns default constructed path. If an error occurs. Any overload not marked, no except may throw bad alloc, blah blah. Throws file system error. Underlying OS API errors. Constructed the P as the first path argument and the OS error code. Blah, blah. Implementations are encouraged to not consider P not existing to be an error. Note the two nots. But only encouraged? Okay, well, for POSIX systems is doing what I want. I think this is definitely what I want. Then current path is, or we also have quote capital. I just use absolute, man. Absolutely. Yay, now it does it. So now we know at least, you know, what it was trying to find. Now interesting would be what happens if you try to access a non-existing directory and then follow that with a dot dot. I just have to try that. I just have to try. Is that something that does not exist, or can you tunnel through a non-existing directory? Okay, what was I going to test here? This one or that one? No, this one. So I could do non-exist slash dot dot slash. I mean, that clearly does not exist, right? It says so in the name. Now, first of all, what happens if it really doesn't exist? Is it still going to short circuit it or not? No, it's not removing the dot dot in this case. Which is okay if and only if it says that it does not exist. If the file does exist. If you get what I mean. So I move this back. Okay, that's super interesting. ls minus L. It does not exist. Wait a minute. And what? I'm so confused. Let's see. Okay, the dot dot eats that. That's what it should do. That exists. See? Cool. You cannot go through a non-existing directory. Yeah. I mean, dot dot does not really mean lexically eat the previous directory. No. It is an entry in a directory. You can even print it here. ls minus a. There is a dot dot here. It is an existing directory. It is the parent directory of. So if you do non-exist and then dot dot, you cannot just remove that. You can only remove it if non-exist actually exists. Then it's kind of nonsensical to add that. Might as well remove it. But if non-exist does not exist, I'm happy with the absolute anyway. Yeah. Good enough for me. No, I guess I got all the errors out of it right. So next thing would be I have to call mmap on this file. No, I have to open it and then call mmap. Let's see if the AI already had something in that direction. Nope. Just the throws as I asked. So the majority, all of them. Thank you very much. And this is just got from the comments. Yeah, well, you claim it in the comments, so it must be true. I did not check the C++ code. Logical flaws and potential improvements. Okay, I'm curious. Despite its strengths, the provider code has some logical flaws and areas for improvement. Redundant if statements and nested logic. It's actually correct. Else is sound, but the nested if and else if for mode checks with the not val exist block can lead to the error string being overridden. For example, if file size equals 0 and mode equals mode read only. So if written over the second, only the last error message will be thrown. Check should be independent and throw immediately. Or use an else if chain. So we change if inside the else if. Block level is yeah, I actually agree with it. Oh my god. I won't sleep tonight. So here we have an if and then an else if and then an else. That is not a problem. But inside of this, I have should have an else here. Yeah. I made a remark about this, you know, where I said that well, it throws here, so we are done. But I still want to have this else because these two are mutually exclusive. And then I changed the throw into an assignment. Oops. Yeah, in that case, we definitely need an else. Everywhere. Missing is writable check for existing files with mode persistent. Code only checks not is writable for the mode equals persistent case. But what if a writable file has a mode persistent set? The is writable check should be independent from the mode check. I cannot really follow this, but I have to look at my code, I guess. I probably have only one place where I check for mode persistence. Missing is writable check for existing files with mode persistent. existing files with mode persistence. Existing files is this, because if a file exists, it's not talking about that, I think. Else, if file not exists, you do this, else file exists and is readable and regular. Then I test if not writable. Missing is writable, check for existing files with mode persistence. So I think it means the opposite of this. And then still check for persistence. No, this is not allowed. That it means not writable, period. Good. What if a writable file has mode persistent set? Yes, that's okay. I don't have to throw then. That reads like complete nonsense. Point 2 seems, well, nonsense. I'm just checking if the case is RP. No handling with the zero init flag. The provided code doesn't actually perform the zero initialization. It only checks. Yeah, I know. Perform zero. I'm not even m-mapping anything. Okay, that's point 4. Yeah, no mmap call. Yeah, your code didn't have an mmap call, you know. The provided code doesn't actually perform the zero initialization. It only checks for RZ invalid case. That's the point. The actual F truncate and zeroing launching is missing. This is a crucial part of the constructor's responsibility. No blah 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 blah. Is writable logic error. The expression file status permission and is unequal is correct, but the Boolean expression is file W. Dude, that's from your code. I don't have that. What? Is that in my code? It's not in my code. Well, exists and is readable and is writable. It's overly it is not in my code at all. Intended access function can determine both readability and writability separately. A file's writability doesn't depend on its... No, yeah, whatever. I'm wasting my time with correcting AIs without getting paid for it. 0.5 is definitely nonsense. There is no in my code or an even. You're confused with your own code. So it's validation. That was probably translated by ChatGPT because it is hardly readable and makes still no sense. There is no AI that can do coding, so if you let any AI or LLM, I should say, do your coding, then Paris probably means something very bad. You get rubbish for it, or you got fired maybe. Throw L alert misuse. I think I hurt its feelings. No, but I do understand it. You can talk in German if you don't know English. The throw L alert macro should ideally be not be used multiple times as the error variable can be overridden. It's better to have if else structure and throw from within each if block. What? Or to use a single throw and blah, 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 blah. The provided cause does not include file path argument. I think it got overheated because I didn't use its code. I wrote my own code. It's pissed off. It must be it. I bet it doesn't even know how this works. It doesn't know how it works. I never showed that head of that or anything. I should probably use the FS absolute here though. Because, yeah. But for the rest... Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, blah blah. Okay, I'm always right, AI. I think they should teach, they train all LLMs on the data that Kahoot is always right. Well, it could have pointed out. Well, it did point one thing out that was correct, and it could have pointed out that this was theoretically missing, as in. Yeah, I could also explain why I use 2 of these, because we left that out, but explaining things to AIs is even more a waste of time than trying to use what they come up with. Let's not do that. I'm gonna stop for today.